Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dress Rehearsal Podcast. Today's guest, Jay Harrison G, is truly a pinch me moment. They are the first non-binary performer to win in a leading category for the Tony Awards, when they also won a Grammy Award for their role as Daphne slash Jerry in Some Like It Hot, which also garnered them a Drama Desk, an Outer Critics Circle Award. They were just picking up awards left and right, and rightfully so. They lead with such intention, purpose, and love, like they say in the interview, but so much of their existence speaks to this podcast. They've carved out a window of the world that is just so full of vibrant creativity from their fashion to their performances on stage. So Jay bursted onto the theater scene as the first real drag queen to play Lola in Kinky Boots, rising the ranks from being a swing on the national tour all the way to leading the Broadway company as Lola. Kinky Boots is me and my dad, one of our favorite shows of all time. And for those of you who have never seen it, essentially, it is a factory in London that is failing when they're trying to figure out how could we possibly save these jobs for all the people in this town. And Lola, the drag queen, walks in their doors and says, "Hey, why don't you start making shoes for drag queens? No one wants to make a heel strong enough for us." And basically, Lola rocks their world and takes them on this journey of acceptance. And it's one of the most beautiful pieces of theater that I've ever seen. And so, beyond making their mark on Kinky Boots, Jay also starred on Broadway by creating the role of Andre Mayhem in Mrs. Doubtfire and co-starred opposite Harry Connick Jr. as Johnny Hooker in The Sting. Beyond Broadway, they recently went out of town with Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, the new Jason Robert Brown musical, as the Lady Chablis. Jason Robert Brown of The Last 5 Years, Parade, 13, everything that continues to feed my creative soul. Beyond the stage, Jay is an outspoken advocate for the LGBTQIA community, where they're involved with so many amazing organizations like Broadway Cares, GLAAD, and then my personal favorite, God's Love We Deliver. You will get to see Jay back on stage soon, though, in the off-Broadway production of Saturday Church with music by Sia and directed by the insanely talented Whitney White. So I can't wait for you to hear everything that Jay has to share with us, the wisdom, the love, the care. So here it is, Jay Harrison G on Dress Rehearsal. Please welcome Jay Harrison G to the podcast. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Mackenzie.
Of course. So we always start every episode by asking what show bit you with the theater bug?
When I was a kid, my dad gave me a VHS of Porgy and Bess,
Okay.
and I watched it like all the time. Like I was 2 feet from the TV, just like enthralled by these beautiful black people telling the story. And I didn't know then what it would lead me to. Like, I didn't think immediately, like, oh, I've got to do theater. It was just that, like, they're singing and dancing and telling a story, and this is just encapsulating, like, entrancing. And it just stuck with me forever. And then the first physical, like, musical I ever saw was Aida. Our our show choir director took us to the national tour that came through North Carolina, and that and Hairspray were the first two like shows that like really bit me hard. That I was like, oh, I can do this? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, epic taste at an early age. I always say like Annie and Hairspray were like my OGs also. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
think it's the fact of even like you seeing beautiful black people doing something so inspirational, like seeing a kid on stage and like that window in is so special. Also, I mean, Nikki Blonsky is everywhere on social media right now. So like if we can get the Hairspray resurgence that we're dying for, like producers like what are we waiting for?
Okay, we can have some fun because I'm ready to play Motormouth Maybelle. Just saying.
Please, 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 please. Oh, that would be iconic.
Yeah.
I don't know who to call, but we'll be in touch. And then also going back to North Carolina. So I'm obsessed that you say that drag is your ministry. And
Yeah.
I also feel like theater has always been like a church and a sanctuary for me. And so growing up as the son of a pastor, I'm curious, like, what are the values that exist in Jay's ministry? Because I'm there.
I live by intention, purpose, and love.
Okay.
Those are truly the foundation of how I operate. I got it tattooed on myself 2 years ago. Like that was my first tattoo because I wanted a reminder of what are my core values? What do
Mhm.
I believe in? What do I stand for? And I try to do everything in life with intention and purpose, but most importantly, with love. That's the ministry.
And did it take you a while to get there, or has that been like your North Star always?
I think it has. I just didn't find that language for it or that clarity until I, lived a little life. But that has always been the core of doing everything with love. Like since I was a kid, it's just like, oh yeah, I just want to. Even finding my agents, they
Mm.
asked, what did I want to do, and I was like, I just want to take over the world with love. And so I've been with them since 2017, and we every now and then we're at each project that comes along, we're like, okay, and we're still taking over the world with love. All right, more love.
And it feels so simple at its core, but it also feels like that intention is such a through line for you. And I've heard you say that you feel like the right shows come to you at the right time in your life. And so it was announced that you're going to be starring in Saturday Church off Broadway at New York
Yeah.
Theater Workshop. So could you just kind of tell people what the show's about and maybe why you feel like this is the right moment for it?
Yeah, it's a beautiful queer coming of age story of a young man, Ulysses, who has a single mother raising him and is getting help from his aunt, her sister-in-law, who is very religious, and they kind of tell him his queerness is wrong and other in different ways. And the church tells him, that he's too much. And he's continually praying to God and praying to Black Jesus. Um,
Period.
I play Black Jesus and the pastor, and so I just appear in the show in different forms, and I get to really affirm who he is and show him the possibility beyond what he's been told and debunking what religion has become and what has dictated to people what queerness can be. And again, that's a something I take pride in. Of my foundation is faith,
Mhm.
and I'm also queer. The two can exist, and they do work together.
Mhm. And it feels like in this moment, just standing in that is the power of the piece. And I heard Cola Scola say something recently that they thought their big break was gonna come from playing like the funny gay BFF on a sitcom. And the fact that Omeri, a play that's like entirely theirs and a true reflection of their artistry, was the project that ascended them. And that feels very similar to your story with Kinky Boots. And instead of maybe being confined to one lane as a drag artist, your big break came from embracing all the layers of you. And so I'm curious, like, how that unique background like was necessary for you and how stepping into your power was the way that you kind of broke into the industry in like a big splash.
It just everything aligned. Literally, it was one of those things. The show came out, and anyone who knew me was like, "You have to be seen for this. You have to go in. This is like your life. You have to play the role of Lola at some point." And I was just like, "Okay." I was coming off a cruise ship, and I was just going in, being like, "Hey, I do this. This is me. I'm just gonna show you who I am."
Mhm.
And at every opportunity during that process, it was just a chance for me to show up and be present and tell the truth, which is something I found recently in my meditation book, The Fourfold Way of Living. Show up, be present, tell the truth, and not be attached to the outcome.
And that's the hardest part.
And that is the hardest part.
Everyone's looking for like the ROI of like, okay, if I do XYZ, it's gonna get me to so and so place. And when you realize that it's not a straight line and the deviations from that straight line are where you find your answers and they're not a waste of time, but rather like informing you, I get stuck in that mindset all the time, and I think reminding yourself of that in an industry that like you can't choose what project is going to work and what's not.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get back to that place too, having now lived more life and been more affected of, yeah, get back to that like place of abandon and trust.
Mm.
Kinky Boots was definitely I was the swing on the national tour, so I covered every role. I covered Lola, all the angels, all the factory workers, and I was like, oh, I get paid to do what my brain naturally does. I
Mm.
learn everybody's part if I watch it long enough. That's just what I do. So I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, you really just now pay me to sit off stage and cover all these people? Cool. And I get to switch in and out and like put on different hats and show you what I'm capable of. Awesome. And giving myself purpose amongst that time was, yeah, pivotal.
And going from being a swing on the national tour and kind of working your way up to Lola on Broadway, like what was the responsibility that you felt leading that company and how did you want to make it your own?
Just by continuing to be myself and seeing how that was effective. Even things of like when I got to the Broadway company, I kept doing what I did on tour, which was walking around the theater before the show to
Hmm.
check in with my castmates. And it gagged so many of the original company members. They were like, Lolas are never over here. Why are you in our side of the theater? What's happening?
Hmm.
And I was like, well, if I don't see you off stage, then I don't see you. And I don't like that. I want to check in with like who I'm playing with on stage.
Hmm. And I think people forget that just because something comes naturally and is so obvious to you in your core, you forget that it's your superpower at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think something so special about Kinky Boots was the fact that it gave such a beautiful opportunity to so many Black artists to just show up as their full selves instead of maybe being forced into like a leading man role, whatever it is. And so I'm curious what the fellowship from other Lolas or even just like other people in the company meant to you.
No, the Lola bond is like so real in such a way.
It's like an
Um,
alphabet sisterhood in a different font.
it really
Yeah.
is like truly the way Callum Francis and I are like so bonded because we truly were the same. He on the West End was the same of covering all the angels and then taking over and being Lola in Australia and like we really do have a sisterhood and a bond that is so beautiful and the mentorship I got from Billy Porter during that entire experience like he came out on the road in Pittsburgh and I literally sat at his feet for a week and got to like learn and like just like soak him up and then also build a friendship and become like actual friends and now we support each other in such a beautiful way like we're always at each other's projects do and like cheering each other on it's yeah it's so amazing and then Kyle Taylor Parker we just did a reunion at the Museum of Broadway and
Mhm.
we were just like sitting next to each other and Kevin Smith Kirkwood all like it's just a special sisterhood, truly.
Okay, so I was at the reunion at the Museum of Broadway,
Yeah,
and I loved the story that you told about going in for your Lola audition. You already had all of like the Lola clothes in your closet because you were a drag queen in real life.
yeah,
And I felt like that was such a light bulb moment of like what's meant for you won't pass you by because it's already in you. And the fact that like you had the fashion ready to go, like just reaffirmed that in that moment, that's where you were supposed to be.
yeah.
And I wonder, was your exploration of fashion a byproduct of like joining the drag community, or was it something like you always were passionate about?
Always.
Okay, you knew.
Like since I was a kid, like I was wrapping blankets around myself and having fashion shows in the hallway, like
Yeah.
entertaining myself, truly designing outfits that transformed and finding ways to express myself. A lot of times secretively, like
Mm,
I was young Lola. I played in my mom's closet when nobody was home and like ran around in her heels and so it has always been in me. And so to really get to explore that as an adult on my own terms is like I joke with people. I'm saying like if I can't do anything else when you see me in life, I'm gonna look like something.
mm,
That has just been how also how I was raised. It's like if you leave your home, be presentable. And what that used to look like was just like, slacks, button up, put on a blazer, do
Sure.
the thing. But then understanding that my existence is a political statement, so I might as well give you something to look at.
Hmm.
That is how I get dressed every day. But like, what can I give today? Who wants to come forth today?
And isn't that so freeing? It feels like New York is the place where people understand that. And I'm curious, like, if you have an instance of like when fashion maybe helped you feel brave when you didn't maybe feel brave inside yet, because it feels like such an outward expression that sometimes I'm like, oh, I shouldn't go out in that. Like, that's a little too wacky.
I mean, all the time. And I really do like giggle at I'll look in the mirror and say to myself, "Oh, you're doing the most today."
Uh-huh.
And then I like stick my chest out a little bit more and go.
And
There
lean
were
in.
times where I stopped myself, but I realized, talk about superpowers,
Mm.
that oftentimes I would see things and be like, "Oh, that's too much." But I have to remember, I was like, "Oh, whose voice is that?" Because it's not mine.
Mm.
Where did I pick up that that was too much? Who is that too much for?
And why would I reiterate it to myself if I didn't believe it when I heard it the first time?
And so now when I see things and I'm like, "Oh, that's like, ooh," I'm like, "Oh, I need that actually."
Uh-huh. Like you're coming home with me.
Clearly I'm drawn to that.
And okay, that's what I think like thrifting and like repurposing clothes, that is the key because there's no overarching like brand or display that's telling you this is what you need to like. And
Yeah.
no, you have like probably the most insane closet, but I'm curious if there's like a piece in there that you're like, oh, this had a first home, but it was meant to find me.
I mean, this is a thrifted piece that I'm wearing right now that I got
Okay.
in Chicago last summer. Um, I love thrifting, and there's so many. Oh,
Tell me.
one of my favorite thrifting moments was connected to Kinky Boots. I went to Hamburg, Germany, to do a press event for the show.
Casual.
Just
Hop, skip, and a jump.
so I went over, and we were like just walking through the streets, and we came up on this thrift store, and we
Hmm.
walked in, and we're just like looking at things, and I look up, and on this mannequin there's this leather and suede bomber jacket that has like Swarovski crystals like clawed down both sleeves.
Oh,
And when I tell you, I immediately was like, take it down and give it to me right now. Like, that
right.
is for me. And it has been like a piece in my closet that is just like, oh yeah, this would seem ridiculous to other people, but I'm like, it is such a neutral in my life,
Hmm.
and it has become such a staple piece. That, and there was a like flocked purple batwing jacket that was so cheap, and I was like, is that gaudy or do I love it? And I was like,
The line
I
is
love it.
so unclear, but like, why not? I think about it too. For me, it feels like a mile marker in my life, or even just like a story. Like there's this vintage store in the West Village with this sweet lady who I got like a scarf from her for like $20 like 3 weeks ago. And we ended up talking for like an hour. She's a 75-year-old lady from Uganda. Like perhaps our lives would not have crossed otherwise. And the fact that we're standing in her vintage store talking about this scarf and like the bygone department stores in New York City for like an hour. And I'm like, that's makes me want to wear it every day. And when you feel like
Yeah,
have those, it almost feels like armor to the world of like I'm bringing storytelling in so many different ways.
yeah.
And when you're thinking about your own personal style, I'd love to know if you have like a holy trinity, like people who you pull inspo from, or you're just like, this is Jay's style and this is so singular.
I think it is very. I think it is very singular, which
Mm.
I'm understanding more because the way people respond to me, and in my head, it has become so normal and again
Uh-huh.
so neutral. Even last night, I went to go see Boop the musical, and I had on. I love to dress for the occasion, so I wore a vest that says "off duty taxi," and it's like sequin that I got at a vintage show here in New York, and I wore my happy face sparkly slippers, and so I was just like in theme and very like, and it just felt like, no, this felt right for the evening. And the way people all night were just like, I love I love this outfit, and I'm like, oh right, this is new for you.
Yep.
But this is like, this is just me.
And it's such a playground too, of like I could take one thing and layer it with something else and it's completely different. And so it's like we don't need to be consuming nearly as much as we are if we
Yeah.
have a little inspiration behind it.
Oh yeah, like again, it's always been in me. Even since I was a kid, I used to I hated the idea of wearing the same piece within a 2 week span.
Uh, sure. I hope you had like a little calendar of
I
like
didn't, but it was
last
in my head.
it's like a library card like last checked out by Jay. Like I wore this on Tuesday, can't possibly wear it again till next month.
Like but it helped me like build how to style and play things around that. Like it kept things fresh for me because I didn't want to feel like stagnant and just continually in a uniform. I was like, no, I love switching it up and seeing how different I can make myself look and feel.
Totally. And I grew up wearing a uniform every day for 12 years. And on the weekends, that was like my self-expression. Like that was for me the holy grail was the time that like I got to make outfits and not have to be forced into this mold. And I feel like it's so liberating once you realize like if this it doesn't go, it doesn't matter.
Like you gave it a try, and that's the fun of it. There are definitely days again I'll look and be like, I'm not sure about this, but we're gonna try it out and see. And then it is fun to see how it is received in the streets.
Hmm.
I love to watch people process me in real time.
And like, do I get like a head turn? Like, am I getting a swivel or am I just blending in?
Even yeah, I was sitting at Boot last night behind this man, and he was standing there in this like blue button up and khaki pants, and I was like, right, you chose to fit in today. This was your drag, and you were like,
Mm.
I feel safe in this. I feel like comfortable and like happy to blend.
Right. Which, not everyone's cup of tea. Well, so I do have a few of your looks to go through. If you
Okay,
kind of just tell me with each one the first word that comes to your mind, a memory, just like the inspo behind it, any nugget that you
okay.
inspired by. First one, of course, epic.
Tony. I
Tony's
mean,
2023, duh.
there's designed by my friend Jerome Lamar. Um, and this look, I mean, it's I don't like to casually throw this word around, but it is iconic. It just like
It warrants it.
it felt like the representation of Black queer joy in such a pure way,
Mm.
that I wanted I loved it all night. People were like, "Your dress was so amazing." I was like, "Well, it was actually a vest with a train attached and pants." And I love to confuse people. I love they don't know what to think, and it was just like a moment to be bold and unapologetic.
It also feels like someone tipped you off to what the red carpet was going to look like because you literally looked like a statue that was like built into the like red carpet. It's wild.
Thank you. No, it and that's one of the things that's like my intuition is one of my superpowers, and then
Mm.
style is. And so like us choosing this color, my Jerome just happened to have those gloves after we chose the color. Like
Who
everything just
happens to have those gloves? Like
and to
who?
match the color perfectly.
And that's not like we're not talking a black gown. Like
No.
this is a very specific situation.
Yeah, so I'm excited to, and then my hair by Caitlin Malloy, which like working with Caitlin to design that and create it and to really again just go there and not be afraid. It was just a dream come true. And I'm excited. I'm gonna restyle this sometime soon and like reshoot it.
Oh, okay. But see, isn't that the best part? Just like making an epic creation and then destroying it and like rebuilding it in a whole new way.
Yeah.
Okay, next number two, another epic 2023 Met Gala,
The
Carla.
first one, yeah. Again, hair
Mhm.
by Caitlin Malloy. This outfit by Wiederhoff of New York, and Vogue dressed me. So I went to the offices and was trying on these things, and this was very homage to Andre Leon Talley and like that just statement piece of like capery. And I felt so regal and beautiful. Yeah.
I love that. Well, I guess former queen Anna Wintour, but like the way she loves theater and the way that she elevates it into all culture. I'm also in the middle of Andre Leontali's book right now, so I
Yeah,
recommend it to everyone because
it's so good.
I mean the life that he lived, like Warhol, like it's just so it's such a big life.
Yeah,
But then to hear his like quiet moments is really special. And so for any listeners that don't know him or his legacy, like I can't recommend it enough because it's such a beautiful story of like your life can be whatever you make it.
yeah. Chiffon Trenches. And if you he reads it on Audible.
Yes. That's what I'm doing. That's my
Yeah.
subway little present whenever I'm commuting anywhere.
Ugh,
All right, next up. This one I'm obsessed with because it feels like the perfect masculine feminine culmination.
thank you. Yeah, and again, this is like me. I styled myself. This jacket by Landeros. This skirt I found in Connecticut and then layered both those pieces at a like boutique in Connecticut, the tulle and the other piece on top. Um, those shoes by Jessica Simpson. And like you said, that blend, I love to just like play and find that place of in between.
And some fabulous Connecticut housewife somewhere has no idea the life that like this look has taken on. Like they don't have a clue. All
Yeah.
right, next. This one just, I mean, what's
Oh,
happening here?
thank. This was just a fun shoot I did with my friend Benjamin Rivera, who I love shooting with. And this dress is by Norma Kamali, and just felt like goddess, you know?
hmm
Like that's the only word I can describe this as, and just giving a little
hmm And just like knowing that it's everything in the moment.
yeah. Uh,
All right, this one is Kinky Boots era. It's
yes.
giving Motormouth Maple.
Okay, thank you very much. If you
Was that the
needed proof
vision?
of, yeah, it is
Okay.
very that. I used to do a thing called Saturday Slay Days where I would go sign at the stage door in full drag.
Shut up. That is epic.
So like every Saturday, I was like, if you came, you didn't know if it was going to be the matinee or the evening, but I would always go out in a random look, and this is just one of the looks one day, and this is a dress I bought when I was exploring my drag in Tokyo, and that jacket was thrifted on tour as well as that necklace. Yeah, so it was just like it was very much a motor mouth nod.
I mean, talk about keeping people on their toes. Like, they're just waiting to see Lola come out, and then there is the queen.
Yeah,
Casual Saturday, no big
yeah.
deal. All right, and then the last one. This just gave Anna Wintour to me.
I love this piece so much. This is the vest piece is from So Hung Designs down on 16th Street. And it can be buttoned all sorts of ways. I was going to the finale of Project Runway. I forget what season it was, but they were shooting in Brooklyn, and so I was like, well, I'll just pull this out and button her this way today with some thrifted pants and some Sarah Jessica Parker shoes. And my friend made that bag, West House.
Oh my God, it looks like it's like a Bottega
Y-
inspo. That's what,
Yeah,
I mean, you have to show up for Project Runway. Like, there's no other way.
I mean, yeah.
And the buttons is wild. Like, I can't imagine.
And
It's
I
like,
do it. I layer it over other pieces because it's just like and it like it can be buttoned all kinds of ways. It's just a fun, and that again speaks to my childhood.
mm.
I would literally design things in my head and sketch stuff that I'd be like, oh, and you pull this and it turns into something else, and then like. So this was like a manifestation of my childhood dreams, like almost quite literally.
And how full circle to feel like now you're at a point where that version of yourself is so natural. And I always think back of people say like if you knew how normal like your dreams would feel when they become a reality, like you wouldn't believe it. And the fact that like you can just walk down the street in New York and live that dream so day in and day out feels so special.
Yeah.
And going back to like when you were starting out as a drag performer, I'm curious, like, you iconically had a show at New World Stages, and connecting with an audience in those kinds of spaces feels a lot more intimate than like a Broadway stage. And so I'm curious about like the human connection and just like the audience exchange that you got from that world that's different than Broadway.
I mean, it was just the immediate connectivity and response that was like right there I could touch, and truly that is where I found the ministry of my drag,
Mm,
because I was performing on a literally just like the smallest stage in the, New 42 Lounge. And again, doing everything intentionally. That I did have a weekly. I did different numbers every week and had themes for myself, and wanted to make sure people left with something.
mm,
And the amount of people who would come up to me and be like, "Oh, I needed that number tonight," or "You said a thing that like healed something I was dealing with at work," or "This is what I'm dealing with my family." The like revelations and the healing that people got through drag and through that art was like, oh, I can be effective
mm.
doing this too. But like how I was raised would make me believe that this wasn't possible, but I'm literally doing it.
And that like immediate testimony, because sometimes it can feel like you're pushing your creativity out into a void and seeing that exchange so tangibly, I'm sure now is kind of just like the bedrock of everything you do. And knowing since then you've gotten to work with like iconic people with like Mark Shaman for Some Like It Hot, even like Jason Robert Brown recently for
Yeah.
Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. And I'm curious, working with other just like artistic visionaries, how like them believing in you and how that exchange has influenced you also.
Oh, that has been like mind blowing of going into these spaces and feeling the trust
Mm,
that people have material, like, working with Mark Shaman for something like it hot. That show was generally built, and I took that material and then we tweaked and found and like worked together, but they let me lead. They really did let me show up in a way that informed the work.
hmm
And very similarly with Jason Robert Brown in Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, he pulled me aside one day. I was like, "Can we talk?" He's like, "As a cis, straight Jewish man writing for a black trans queer experience," he's like, "I got questions, and can you give me some grace?
hmm
Can we like,
And that humility coming from people who have achieved such success that like going back to ground zero and being like, I'm also just a human trying to understand the human experience in a different way.
yeah," and then for him to take that conversation and me not knowing,
Mm,
but he went away and wrote a song and came back that afternoon, and like it changed everything for us. It
mm.
grounded us in the show. It like made things make sense, and it moved everyone in such a way that we were like, wow, okay, we didn't know before, but okay, now we can move on to the stage tomorrow. It literally was our last studio run, and it was like, all right, we're starting tech tomorrow, but now we got something. We know where we're going.
Hey, the buzzer beaters, the ones that just like flow out of you are the ones that I feel like always stick around. And with Some Like It Hot, I've heard you say, like, can we just create art that creates conversation? And so I'm curious, like the conversations like with JRB, like that you're most proud of starting in the industry and kind of where you hope your art starts conversations in the future.
I mean, yeah, it was something like a hot that was it felt very intentional of like, no, this is something I have to do, and it feels like, and as we kept growing together, it it was wonderful to see how the creatives were listening to me and putting me into the work. Truly, like, just that simple line of me saying at the end of the show, like, call me whatever as long as you do it with love and respect. That's what I say in my real life when people ask me my pronouns. Call me all things with love and respect. I give people permission, and I love to watch them struggle.
Mm. And knowing that, yes, it was in the show that you were performing, but now every iteration after that, every person that steps into that role is going to have that tangible core of this is maybe going to change how they live their lives. And they have the language to move forward with that and the validation of like an entire audience like getting on board with that and in that percolating into like the rest of their lives. It's just kind of the domino effect. And so
Yeah,
it goes beyond the Broadway company and it goes beyond New York. It goes to every iteration after that.
which is definitely humbling of like, all right, that there's a legacy that's created with that that is like lasting and forever. And it's moments like our security guy at Broadway, Leon, didn't watch the show until opening night. Like previews, he had headphones in and wasn't like he wouldn't look. And he told me after he saw the show that there was a cis white man sitting in front of him, and this lady was with him. And after I finished my song in Act Two, you could have knocked me over with a feather. He
Mhm.
turned to the lady and goes, "I need to treat my son better."
Mm.
And it's like, ah, that's why I do what I do, so people see this reflection of like humanity.
Hmm. And there's so much conversation about commercial theater and how that's like taking a turn. But no matter if something started as a movie, it started as a jukebox, like the whole point of it is humanity.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're getting people to sit in a seat and just absorb art and see a window into something that either is a reflection of their own life and something that they haven't grappled with, or just like a window into a life that they've not been exposed to. And we talk a lot about on this podcast, like what each person's signature stamp on the industry will be. And so I'm curious for you, free yourself to be yourself is such a core tenet. And that feels so you, but also like, what does that look like on the days that are really hard? Like, how do you grapple with coming back to that center?
Mm, it's the that's where the purpose comes in. I can live with the intention, but it's remembering the purpose of why I'm here. And it's like, oh right, this is a part of your calling and your lot in life. So show up for it. And it is a lot. And allow the rest and the like recuperation because that's necessary and hard because I'm like, I love to be doing things. I love to be up and at it.
Hmm.
But then it's like I can't pour from an empty cup. So I have to refill and I have to be able to like step back and then be able because when I go to work or when I show up or I am called on, it's not a light lift.
Mm.
I would love to have like cute little moments, but people are
Sure.
now like, no, you do that thing, come over here, do that over here, and like,
Yeah, I don't see you in a princess track. Like, you're not just waltzing on stage for a few and then hanging out with your friends backstage.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, isn't that beautiful? Like, when you get to pour yourself dry and know that, like, you're giving everything.
The reflection of how that affects people is overwhelming and again grounding that like, oh, I'm being effective at the thing I was put here to do.
Hmm.
Cool. That's all I can hope for.
And I live by this in every aspect of my life, but you only get out of something what you put into it. And so if you're just passively going through, you're not going to be immersing yourself in life in a way that's meaningful or truthful. And I feel like you're doing that in every aspect, and I commend you, and I am just so impressed by you. So having you on the podcast is such a joy, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, for considering me, and it means the world to me too. That I'm like, all right, and people are catching on that like I do fashion and looks, and
Hmm.
I'm like again because it's so normal to me. I'm like, oh, y'all are, oh, you see it, you get it, you get it.
I mean, if I see one more black suit on the Tony's red carpet, I'm like, people, I'm so sorry. You're the most creative people in the world. Give me something.
And that like again, back to my childhood, singing in the choir, and they were like, okay, Sunday, the choir's wearing black and white, and immediately in my head, I'd be like, and everybody's gonna wear a black suit with a white shirt and a black
Uh-huh.
tie, and I'm like, we can find different ways to do the same, guys.
And you know what? I think I realized recently, like, not everyone has that like creative fire that like drives them nuts. But the people that do, you can't get rid of it. So we're stuck with
No,
it. Well, thank you again, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
thank you. I hope you do too.